Okay, so we're going to talk about flow switches today. Normally, what we're going to find with our systems that we work on are two different types of flow switches. This one right here senses the water flow and turns the burner on and off based on whether or not the gun is open or closed. This is an ST5. It's stamped in the black plastic ST5, and this one is an ST6. The difference being that the ST6 can be mounted in any direction and the ST5 is mounted vertically. By that, what we're talking about is the flow of the water. There's arrow indicators on the flow switch that will indicate the flow of the water. This one being vertical only means that the water flow has to be vertical. So if the arrows represent the flow of water this direction, then this switch will always be mounted vertically. Reason that that's important is because inside, and I've already loosened this, they don't come like this, but inside is a piston. When we take this piston out, this piston has a magnet in it, and it also has a small orifice. So when it sits inside there and the water starts because somebody's opened the gun, the water pushes this piston up. When they release the gun, gravity, because the water flow has stopped, gravity allows this piston to fall. And there's a magnet inside, and this magnet, as it goes in and out, activates a reed switch. This is a reed switch. This goes inside there and is held in place by the screw. If you loosen that screw, you'll be able to pull this reed switch out. So what's happening if we take and just separate these from the actual body is we have a reed switch that's the normal position. Based on water, it would be like this. When the gun opens, then this piston comes up. When the gun closes, it goes down. Inside this reed switch is a real small switch, and I'm going to draw the switch right here for you. Basically, it's like this. So the power goes in and the power goes out. When the power goes in, it basically goes nowhere when the piston is at its lowest point. When the water flow pushes the piston up, then it closes the switch. And now the power can flow into the switch and back out again, and that allows the burner to come on. When you release the gun, gravity causes the piston to go down, and that opens the switch back up again to where it interrupts the power and the burner goes out. The ST6 flow switch works on the same principle. You can see the reed switch along the side. Loosen the screw. You can pull the reed switch out. It's a replaceable item. This one can be mounted in any direction because, and again, I've already pre-loosened this, if we take the retaining cap off, you'll see that there's a spring and there's also a piston. So it works very much the same, and that the piston is inside. When you establish water flow, piston goes up, closes that reed switch, allows the burner to come on. When you release the gun, the spring pushes the piston back down again, opens the reed switch, and the burner goes out. This one can be mounted in any direction. It can be mounted vertically, horizontally, sideways, upside down. It makes no difference because the spring compensates for the lack of gravity if it's not in the vertical position. This switch has a tendency to get caught and hung up a little bit more than this one. Not quite as reliable as what we've experienced in the field. Is these are not quite as reliable. They can get hung up if there's sand or dirt in the water supply. They can get hung up in this position, and so then the burner, even though the gun is closed, the burner stays on. So sometimes what we have to do is pull this off, take this out, clean it up. You can get scale and dirt and soap build up along this piston. The tolerances are fairly tight, and sometimes it'll get hung up. So we have to clean those and put them right back on again. This one is a lot more reliable. It seems like the tolerances are a little bit freer, and it doesn't get hung up quite as much. So in terms of flow switches, that's it. That's how they work.